Hey guys, I want to do a video on subtle ROCD compulsions. I have not done that video in quite a while, so I thought it would be a good kind of like refresher to do that. And I can go on and do like a list of like 50 subtle ROCD compulsions because there's so many and different people like do like different kinds of compulsions, but I'll keep it to a handful just to just to keep it short. But if you want to come in for one-to-one coaching calls with us or attend any of our webinars, there's a link in the description below that will take you to our WhatsApp chat, and you can ask questions about our services over there. You can ask what packages are available. Oftentimes we have packages. You can ask what webinars are coming up, and you can attend anything that you want. So I think a big chunk of people that I work with are relationship OCD sufferers. I mean, I work with all sorts of themes, but like ROCD is definitely like a very common one amongst the people I work with. I've been through relationship OCD myself, of with both friends, but also with romantic relationships as well. And it really is something that I mean can occupy your 24/7 mind. So but I think largely what I'm going to talk about is romantic slash sexual partners and relationship OCD coming on that front. So let's see what's here. So number one is not saying I love you because you just don't feel it, right? Now, when you are having doubts about the relationship, whether you love the other person or not, whether there's actual connection or not, and things like that, it's very easy to then not say I love you, right? I work with people who have not said I love you in months to their partner. Or they're like, they will wait for their partner to say it first, but they won't say it themselves because they won't initiate the I love you kind of thing because it's just like, no, that's too uncomfortable, right? But of course, if someone says it, it's okay to say it back because it's like, okay, no, but I have to reciprocate at least. But at times people are also give their partners a talk that I will not say I love you if I don't feel it, right? And then their partners are just like waiting on the sidelines for, okay, when will you feel it? Are you going to say it? Are you going to not? So all those sorts of things. So on the flip side, by the way, sometimes people say I love you compulsively as well, by the way, because it's like, yeah, I mean, I need to tell them I love them because if I don't like tell them frequently that I love them, then something about our relationship and our connection is going to weaken. So that comes into on the same front, it's also avoiding intimacy with your partner, right? Because it's also with that same notion of I don't feel connected, I don't feel attraction, I feel like I've lost attraction towards them. All those sorts of fears, right? Maybe I'm in love with someone else. And this is also because, and this one and the first compulsion that I mentioned, this is all because of like this fear of deceiving and leading the other person on and lying to them. Because it's like, if I'm in the wrong relationship, I don't want this other person to think that I am interested in them because then I'm leading them on into thinking I want to stay in this relationship. And that then starts that chronic guilt and shame cycle and all of it. So this is something where you will have to make that effort and push yourself beyond the disconnection and unattraction that you feel to try and like it's a good exposure as well to initiate intimacy with your partner as well to overcome that barrier because like again a regular person can get away with not having intimacy if they don't feel it, but for an OCD sufferer, at least while you're still suffering, it becomes very tricky territory, and it becomes very addictive to keep avoiding it. And then because if you're chasing the right feeling and the right mood for it all the time, then that's not going to come that easy, and in fact over time it will become even harder to even feel those feelings. Again, I work with people who've not had intimacy with their partners for months at times, and I'm just like, yeah, because their partners are then like again waiting and they're trying to be respectful and polite about everything, which like, I get as well. But then obviously it's just like then it never happens as well, and it does take like a toll on the relationship quite often. Again, similarly, sometimes people are compulsively having intimacy very frequently. Not only having frequent compulsive intimacy, but also people track how much they're having it in a week. and that becomes compulsive as well. So for those people, you have to kind of take a step back and try and not have intimacy for a bit of a stretch of a period to see how you feel, and usually that ramps up the anxiety as well. um, Talking about set rules now, hear me out on this first. This is, I mean, every relationship, I mean, of course, people have their rules, people have their do's and don'ts in a relationship, which again is fine. Again, for the time being, not that you can't have any rules at all, because obviously there are certain rules that are also unsaid. You don't even have to sit down and talk about those, right? But it's when with OCD sufferers, they feel the need to literally outline and have a sit down conversation on, these are my rules and these are my deal breakers. What are your deal breakers? And that just becomes, yeah, that becomes very murky territory, because it's like when those rules come in, they're not flexible and they become pretty ironclad in a way. So I mean, I had a call with someone recently as well, and there was a set rule that you are not going to hang out with the opposite sex alone. There has to be there has to be a third person with you. Now that's not, personally, in my opinion, I don't feel like that's a very helpful rule at all, whether it's an OCD sufferer or a non OCD sufferer. And the reason is because if you're putting that kind of rule in place, automatically you are installing mistrust in the relationship, because the subtext of this rule is that I don't trust you being with someone on your own, alone, right? And naturally then, because but and it's also impractical, because there are going to be situations where the person is going to be with, like, let's say a guy will be with a girl one on one. Let's say there are friends hanging out, and then some friends like go to the side or go to another room or something. Then it's just you and the other person, and you're hanging out, right? At times you have friends that are not connected to a larger group of people, so, and you only just hang out with them one on one. So what are you going to do then? Are you going to take your brother or cousin with you, or are you going to ask them to, I don't know, bring their kid with them? Like, it makes no sense, right? So it's also very impractical. So we really do have to think about uh, not just the rational side of things, but also the practical side of things as well in this. But setting those rules can become compulsive, because then it's like, oh, you broke this rule, therefore this means you are not the one for me. And then it creates that tension and anxiety, and also just this constant checking feeling as well, that did you do this, did you not do this, did this happen, did this not happen? And the line of questioning after that and the inspection that happens is just like endless then. So this is like a bit of a subtle compulsion, and I would say again, this advice also very much applies to people that don't suffer with OCD as well. I don't know any of my friends that I've known who've done this and that has panned out for their relationships in a really good way. It hasn't. It actually has led to far more conflicts. So, yeah, just some life advice as well. Um, Not introducing your partners to your friends. Again, very common thing. People at times want to choose a partner that is going to be approved by society and therefore make you look good. So, with a lot of people, the fear of being in the wrong relationship is very much attached to, what if people don't like my partner or approve of them? And I speak to people sometimes, and I ask them if their girlfriend, boyfriend, if they've met their family or their friends, and they're like, yeah, just a few, but I mean, I don't like them interacting that much. Why not? I mean, if you're planning to be with this person long term, you can't like just keep people in separate rooms and just like away from each other for the rest of your life. It's just not possible. So then that is the discomfort that you have to overcome as well. And I mean, I would encourage you to in fact initiate and curate hangouts where it's both your friends and your partner as well. Do game nights, do, like, I don't know, coffee night or something. That's, I mean, that's up to you, whatever you want to do. But like, again, subtle compulsion because of fear of rejection, fear of being judged, fear of losing status in society, because like relationships, sometimes people feel like it can give them like a, you know, step up above other people. um, Putting up pictures, a lot of pictures with you and your partner, so that people can think you are in a happy relationship. Or again, on the flip side, not putting any pictures at all. And both come from an angle of what do people think about our relationship, and I want people to have the right or correct uh, impression of my relationship. Because it's all, when you're not posting pictures as well, it comes from that same angle, because it's like, if I start putting up pictures, then they are going to essentially, my relationship will be up for criticism and judgment from other people. So that um, this is a subtle social media thing as well, because I see people do this, especially people who are very addicted to social media as well, and they're living their lives like three-fourths of their life through social media, which is liking all your partner's pictures, or them liking all, and or wanting them to like all your pictures as well, because it's like, oh, if they're putting something up, if I don't like it, then I don't want them to think that there's some distance between us, or I'm upset, or I don't want them to think that I'm not interested in them, and I don't want people to think that, oh, she hasn't liked his picture, is something up. All those things. Or if he hasn't liked my picture, then is he not giving me attention? Oh, is it because he spoke to a girl like last night? Oh, is it because he met someone else? It can go so many different ways. So then, I mean, that becomes a bit of an indicator of, like, you know. And with social media, by the way, there are a ton of relationship OCD compulsions, and I can go on like um, another direction with that. But watch out for those. And I'll also, like, I can maybe do a separate video on social media relationship OCD compulsions as well, because I think that definitely is a little bit of a separate thing to tackle as well. Um, Checking in with your partner on text all the time. Again, and I've been through this myself, where you want to text your partner all day long, and it's like, we have to check in, we have to keep each other updated throughout the day of what we're doing, where we are. And this can come into play with certain, like, cheating OCD fears as well, by the way. Like, if you have a fear that your partner may cheat on you or is cheating on you, then when they're out, you will message them and be like, hey, just want to make sure you're having fun, or like, hey, what's up, like, what are you doing this evening, you know, just to see that, what are they going to say, are they going to immediately reply, are, like, what they're saying, does it match up with their Instagram stories or Snapchat stories, are they, when they relate the entire event to me later on, do I feel like they're telling the truth? So, right, so checking in on text then becomes that mechanism of, like, and also then if I check in, then this person can be reminded that I exist, and maybe they love me or I love them, so they will not do anything to hurt my feelings. So, but this can be attached to so many other things. Like, at times it can be attached to harm OCD as well, because if you have a fear that your partner, I don't know, may die or be in harm's way, then it's like, I want to check in with them to make sure they're okay and that nothing bad has happened to them. So, and then checking when they were last online, all those sorts of things. So that becomes compulsive too. Um, Asking people about their opinions, not just about your relationship. So this can be both ways. Either people can straight up say that, hey, me and my partner are doing this, or this is what I feel about my partner, what do you think? Or people can be very subtle about this. They'd be like, um, you know how I don't know. You know how Ben Affleck and J Lo have got back together, and reportedly they're having problems again. What do you guys think about it? Do you think it's good to get back together with an ex? And essentially, you're trying to see what people think, and then you're trying to gauge something about, through that question, trying to gauge something about your own situation, and trying to get some reassurance or that kind of thing. So it's like a very it's a very roundabout way of going about reassurance seeking, but again, a very, and we do it very subtly and very smoothly. But if one was to really ask, and if you really were to think about it, like ask yourself, why are you doing it? Why are you really asking that question? And oftentimes it's for those like subtle compulsive reasons. So keep an eye out for that. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there are other compulsions you want me to cover with relationship OCD, or for that matter, any other theme. I'd be happy to do that. If there are questions about this, let me know. And I think, yeah, I'll be doing a few other videos on. I want to do one on cheating OCD separately, and I want to do one on low frustration tolerance compulsions as well. So I'll see you guys soon. Bye.